We've seen many opponents bring in all kinds of methods and tactics into battle.
But nothing beats out good old-fashioned strategy of punching your opponent until they expire.
Yang Xiao Long, the Goldilocks of bone breaking.
And Akande, the Doomfist.
I'm one fish mob.
And I'm Animation Rewind. It's our job to see who would win a fatal conflict.
The world of Remnant. A world of advanced science, mystic arts, elemental dust,
and bloodthirsty monsters that only live to kill.
The creatures of Grimm, soulless beasts whose only goal is to wipe out humanity. In order to combat these ferocious beasts, humanity needs champions, guardians who stand between the hordes of Grimm and all those who can't fight back. These champions are called huntsmen.
And huntresses like this one.
Coming from a long familial line of huntsmen and huntresses, Yang Xiao Long lived happily alongside her father Tai Yang, her mother Summer, and her little sister RWBY.
It was going all well and good until one day Summer went out on a mission and never returned. It was on that day that Yang learned a shocking truth. Summer was Tai's second lover, making her Yang's stepmother, RWBY her half-sister, all while learning that her real mother Raven just straight up left her when she was born, proving once and for all, craptastic people exist in all worlds.
Armed with this knowledge, Yang vowed to one day find her birth mother, all while helping to raise her younger sister, which is probably why she chose the one job that let her travel the world.
Among other reasons.
I'm a thrill seeker. I want to travel around the world and get wrapped up in as many crazy adventures as I can. And if I help people along the way, then that's even better.
Regardless as to why she became a huntress, she certainly possesses the needed attributes to become one.
She's strong enough to create a small earthquake by punching the ground, shatter an Legion Paladin, and throw people through glass pillars.
Yang can move at speeds faster than the eye can perceive, casually dodges bullets and rockets, and can keep up with Mercury Black, a man who dodged lightning.
Yang is also tough enough to take tremendous punishment and get back up, such as being struck by the massive paladin, or being hit so hard she's sent flying up into the air, only to come crashing down several minutes later.
Meaning she had been sent up so high into the sky, by the time she came down, she would have struck the earth at terminal velocity. But she doesn't just simply take damage, she'll happily dish it back out.
Yang's favorite weapon is the Ember Celica, a pair of bracelets that not only increases her striking power,
but are also part shotgun, capable of firing a kinetic blast whenever she punches. However, as of Volume 6, this appears to no longer be the case, as she can also use fire just by aiming.
Regardless, each bracelet holds about 12 rounds, with plenty more ammunition on the ready with varying effects. Orange ammunition is standard buckshot ammo, which can be rapidly fired, and red ammunition for long-range explosive shots or close-range explosions.
And after Yang tried her teammate a hand, only to lose said hand, she got a pretty sweet robot arm in replacement of it.
Her prosthetic is made out of some of the finest technology her world can muster. It's just as flexible as a human arm, but at the benefit of no longer feeling pain through it and having a makeshift shield at the ready, something she uses pretty well in battle.
It is said to have a harder punch than her normal arm could dish. It has an Ember Celica built into it and can be detached at any moment by her own will, either as a means of escape or to fire an unexpected projectile, at the expense of being rendered armless.
But her most useful attribute would undoubtedly be her aura. The very manifestation of her soul, it'll act like a force field, stopping any and all attacks and healing minor wounds almost instantly as long as it remains active.
But when Yang needs a little extra firepower, she activates her semblance.
A unique ability granted by her aura, her semblance increases her striking power with every hit Yang receives, allowing her to take said damage and throw it back to sender with just as much, if not more, force.
But there's a lot more to Yang than just punching and firing fist guns. Yang was able to defeat a Knight's Club's worth of opponents, defeated many foes on her own, and even managed to fight through her own depression and PTSD.
However, this does all lead to one of Yang's biggest drawbacks.
Her flirting skills?
I like your bow. Thanks. It goes great with your pajamas.
Right.
What? No! Yang is about as subtle as a raging bull. She is well known for a short temper, usually lashing out at opponents that so much as remove a single hair. And while she's worked on it, Yang has a history of relying on her semblance in battle.
And while she may be able to return any damage back to sender with her semblance, that'll only happen if her attack actually lands, but nothing compares to her worst flaw of all.
What?
Her sense of humor.
Hear about the teacher at Beacon who wears an eye patch? I heard they had to let him go. Turns out he only had one pupil.
Boo! Get off the stage!
Out with the Yang.
Ever since he was young, Akande Ogundimu had it all.
Born into a well-regarded Nigerian family, heir to its prosthetic company, really smart and charismatic, and still had enough free time to partake in his true passion, competitive martial arts.
For most of his life, Akande competed in martial art tournaments all over Africa, using his intuition and ability to read opponents alongside his tremendous speed and strength. This was how he spent his life.
Until a literal robot uprising happened and presumably lost his right arm in the ensuing conflict. Even with a brand new prosthetic, this effectively ended his career as a competitive martial artist, and for years, that's how he thought his life would be, until he was approached by the one, Adeyemi, who took him under his wing and had him fight alongside him as a mercenary.
Akande quickly adopted Talon's belief that humanity would become stronger through conflict, and quickly rose through the ranks of Talon, eventually going from a mere mercenary to one of its leaders, eventually betraying Adeyemi and taking his mantle as the Doomfist.
With this new title, Akande's true destructive power was showcased.
He is said to be able to level large buildings, destroy the city street, rip stone out of the ground, and destroy most machinery in one punch. He's able to dodge Winston's Tesla cannon, jump large distances in the air, and can keep up with far speedier foes.
He's tough enough to shrug off pulse pistol fire and shurikens, withstand blades that can cut through cars, and survive being beaten up by Primal Winston. Alright, there's no way a guy could achieve this absurd power just from training. I am more than sure he slipped a few extra quote-unquote enhancers to his protein shakes or something.
This leads to Doomfist's most dangerous weapon,
Trenbolone.
no, the very weapon he's named after, the Doomfist gauntlet. A massive hunk of metal about as big as he is tall that supposedly has enough strength to topple a skyscraper.
He also has a hand cannon for high spread carnage, but he truly does prefer the Doomfist, more seeing how he's trained in martial arts nearly his whole life. He's trained in traditional African fighting styles, but also trained in wrestling and other forms of modern combat, mixing his traditional martial arts with his advanced weaponry for some pretty devastating moves.
The best defense creates a temporary shield when dealing damage. He can pull people closer to him with seismic slam, send the enemies straight up into the heavens with rising uppercut, or just send them flying with rocket punch.
But his most dangerous move would undoubtedly have to be the Meteor Strike.
Leaping into the sky, Doomfist slams back down into the earth at super speed, dealing significant damage to the person he directly hits and sending all those around him flying.
Quite literally hitting the earth like an actual meteor.
But Doomfist has shown even more impressive feats. He's won tournaments around the globe, successfully led his family's company, defeated Orisa so badly they needed to be rebuilt, defeated both Tracer and Genji,
and literally broke his way out of prison just by punching his cell. Never before has there been a jailbreak about as many as Doomfist's. Unfortunately for him, this is about where his advantages in battle end. Though he has long-ranged options, he is more of a close-range fighter, is slower than most other offensive class fighters in his universe, has trouble effectively damaging opponents that can take a lot of punishment,
and despite being a master of martial arts, having trained for literal years, if not decades, for some reason, He mainly prefers running into battle fists at the ready.
Hey, when you're as powerful as Doomfist, you can afford to be a little reckless.
Those who fall will be forgotten. Those who rise up, their names will be remembered forever.
Alright, the combatants are set. This battle shall have no prep time, no outside help, or home field advantage. Let the battle begin.
Predictable. Why am I not surprised?
You're not ready.
Fight!
Nice hit. Hold on. Whoa! What? Haha! Here's an extra. One more. Yeah! Take a nap. Whoa! Back off. You're in trouble now. I'm pretty strong.
Needs improvement.
Rising! Burn! Got you now! Fly! Back off! You're in trouble now. Here's an extra! Yeah! Take a nap! Hold on!
Fatality.
Yikes, and I thought Yang could give a proper beatdown.
Yang would be a troublesome opponent for anyone to fight. But in the end, she really couldn't compare to Doomfist.
Yang may have been a lot faster, but Doomfist already has experience with speedy foes. Yang's arsenal was a lot more versatile, but the Doomfist gauntlet easily outclassed Yang's weapons and overall power. While Doomfist is powerful, Yang's semblance could close any gap between the two.
But what led this into Doomfist's favor was his overall superior combat experience. Not only could he analyze Yang's movements like he did with Tracers, but his overall fighting style of countering his opponent and forcing them into submission was ironically a perfect counter to Yang's go-to fighting style.
And while her aura and semblance would quickly close any power or defense gap between them, it was only a temporary fix. While her aura has withstood strikes from powerful foes and impacts, it does have a limit to how much it can take before her aura reverses and is depleted. Given how naturally tough Doomfist is without any shielding, it's more than likely that Doomfist would break through her aura and expose her much softer body than it was for Yang to get past Doomfist's naturally tougher hide.
In short, Yang may have been faster and more versatile, but in the end she just couldn't keep up with someone who was far more powerful, far more durable, far more experienced, and could counter her attacks down to a point.
I guess you could say Doomfist reduced Yang to remnants.
Since when did I have crickets in here?
The winner is Doomfist.